Hello, everybody.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. So, Elise, how do you describe this show to people?
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's based on an original vampire novella, the first one that was written ever before Dracula even. And it's a modern reimagining of that tale. So it's about a girl who goes to university. She's from a protected small little background. And then her roommate goes missing, mysteriously. And it's a bit like Scooby-Doo mystery mixed with Veronica Mars, mixed with a bunch of other things, and her new roommate ends up being a vampire, and it's a love story between the two of them.
What's not to like there? Natasha, how does this modern-day Carmilla compare to the original novel from 1872?
Well, the original novella was very much a cautionary tale about female sexuality. It was written during the Gothic era, and at the end of the novel, Carmilla gets beheaded for being a lesbian, more or less. But our little tale takes that story and turns it on its head and celebrates female sexuality.
So how far does the original go into the lesbian? Like, is it just nuanced or is it obvious?
I would say that, I think for the LGBTQ community, it is definitely obvious, but I think that it was very much nuanced.
So, Steph, why do you think lesbian vampires have been traditionally portrayed as villains? Why such a bad rap?
Well, like Natasha was saying, the original novella was written as a cautionary tale because this vampire, Carmilla, arrives into Laura and her family's life, and slowly but surely, Laura gets sicker and sicker. And then they fall in love, or at least Laura thinks so. So it's as if the lesbian is slowly draining her of her life force. And that's why people nowadays are like, maybe that was kind of a bad story to tell. The point of our show really is to kind of subvert, do the queer feminist retelling of that novella and kind of subvert those tropes on their head.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, Elise, how would you say Carmilla compares to like Twilight, True Blood?
It's way better than all of them.
Good for you. Good for you.
Listen, True Blood season 2.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I would say it's. It started off as just like a little web series, and it expanded and grew so much over the years. But I think it has such a charm to it because it really is just like storytelling in its purest form. It's just a girl at a camera, bunch of shenanigans happening around her, and everyone puts their heart and soul into it, and I think that really shows in the show.
Nice. And it's written and produced and acted pretty much mainly by women. Steph, how do you think that shapes how the story gets told?
You mean behind the scenes or in the story as well?
Ooh, both.
Well,
do tell.
I think they really do kind of influence each other. And we do have a male director, but he is a lovely feminist man, and we all keep him on his toes.
Good.
As you can tell when he goes out of line.
Especially me.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting, obviously the queer aspect is huge and tantamount and why a lot of the audience came to tune in. But I think what's also really attractive to me as, a producer and whatnot is that there are so many different female and non-binary and queer voices of characters in the show. So the burden of being the female voice doesn't fall on one or two characters. You have a breadth of voices and point of views. And then to the point where sometimes other people will come and be like, but where are your men though? You really don't have enough guys. And I'm like, you know what?
That's all right.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Can you explain the relationship between the series content and the sponsor, the idea that Kotex sponsors the whole thing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as my boss likes to say, no one tweets in anticipation of your next commercial. So our pitch to them was really like, let us develop a show that we personally feel passionate about. Let's build an audience. And then after the audience is there, we can also do some kind of branded videos where the connection to the brand is much more prominent. And we've definitely been able to prove a link between viewership and awareness and appreciation of the product. And, to their great credit, they took a chance on this. And I don't think that's for every brand. I mean, their tone is very irreverent and fun. They like poking fun at themselves. So do vampires get their period? Yada, yada, kind of fits in with our show. And the ethos of their brand is the same as the ethos of our show.
Can you do whatever you want in the series, or do they have some kind of say in it?
No.
Okay.
But, I think they've certainly let us be as very creative, but it's still, we're working in corporate environment. And
But the nice
making
thing
a
is
good
we
show.
do have some freedom in terms of the storytelling. Like there
Oh,
is
of course.
no, very overt product placement in the series, which is nice because I think millennial audiences are also so attuned to that. They're aware when they're being sold something. So
Yeah.
and we're just very transparent about that as well. We were honest from the get-go.
Yeah, I wondered because on YouTube, it seems so often as people get really famous, they start getting a lot of hits. When they start doing those sponsored videos, it seems their fans get really angry. So do you think it's because you right from the get-go came in with them that you didn't have that backlash?
Well, it was towards mid-season 1 that we announced that Kotex was actually the financial sponsor. But like Natasha said, from the beginning, they knew someone was on board and helping us finance the show. And really, in this day and age, like the show is free, right? So we have to make it somehow.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're so lucky to have great partners that really believe in the show. And, it was kind of a learning curve for everybody, including us. And I think when they saw the real potential of what this can do, I think it's a really interesting new business model.
Now, in so many TV series, or horror movies, you have one lesbian and one black character, and they generally get killed off seconds in, so early on. People actually refer to it as the dead lesbian syndrome. Yeah, have the debates around that informed how you make decisions in the show?
Well, Carmilla is already dead. So.
Oh, good answer.
So if you'll, I think our audience knows, and if you watch it, that all the characters that die have the tendency to come back.
Oh, right.
Except the old man in season 2. He did. Yeah, he's not coming
He's
back.
real dead.
Yeah.
But I think another awesome thing about the show is that the queerness is just sort of something that's there. It's the norm of the show. It's not, talked about in detail. It's just sort of like a lot of characters are queer, and that's it.
Was it a conscious choice to do it that way?
I mean, I'm just an actor, but
I think that was definitely part of it, and also, part of selling the show is we're doing a retelling of Sheridan Le Fanu's novella. People know it's a lesbian vampire novella, but you still have to.
yeah. I think in terms of people dying, like, if most of the characters are queer, someone has to die. And then it's just someone's dying instead of the queer character is dying.
Yeah,
It's just...
Now, you've got millions of viewers and crazy fans called Cream Puffs.
Yeah.
They even write fan fiction. They make fan art. Natasha, what do they tell you it is that makes them so dedicated?
I think that this fandom was just so desperate for representation, and I think that's what makes the show so important to them and what makes it important to me as well. So I think that they're just really able to identify with the characters and even identify with us as actors, I think because we're all pretty open, honest people as well, and we're pretty proud to work on it. That creates such a great fan loyalty. It's just incredible how many stories I hear about how our show helped them come out to their parents or how it saved their lives. And in many ways, it saved mine too. I mean, just hearing that. It's so often as an actor, I've said this before, but you take what you can get, especially when you're starting out. So the fact that we get to work on something that has social responsibility is such a gift.
It is aimed at a younger audience, but in full disclosure, there are all kinds of middle-aged lesbians, including the two at Mayo's, who are binge watching the series. So clearly what we missed in our 20s, we're making up for now. Elise, how would you describe your relationship with the fans?
I mean, it's definitely, it's been pretty incredible. It's been such a learning experience for me as well. But like Natasha said, some of the best moments are when you hear stories about how the show has really helped people, because that's all I want to accomplish as an actor. I want to put something out there that's going to help people. Healing through art. And I was on Toronto Island one day and a girl came up to me, and I think she was 13 or 14, and she recognized me and she had scattered away from her friends, and she's like, I just none of my friends know that I'm out or I'm not out and nobody knows, and I just I'm so thankful to you and your show. It really is I have a community of people that I can talk to online because I can't talk to my friends at school about it. And I think that's the really incredible thing is that there's a community within the fan base as well, where they can share and they can talk to each other and they can open up to each other when they feel like they might not be able to do that with their families.
Do you think this could have worked on television the same way it does on YouTube?
No.
No, probably not. It's a really good question. I think it depends, especially now with the way TV is going, where even bigger players are realizing that niche is the way to go. There's certainly pressure to make it wider and broader. There's always pressure, but
this is a nice start, though. I think that there's potential for it to be developed into television, and I think that would be really important as well, because I think the type of representation we have on our show isn't super present on television, so that would be wonderful. But the great thing about it being online is the way that it's told in the vlog style, which is very charming and very campy. And then it also allows, as Elise said, fans to chat with each other online. I mean, we have a huge following on Tumblr, and that's what made it popular. So I feel like it wouldn't have expanded quite as much. And also globally as well.
Yeah, that's a great point.
We have a lot of wonderful Canadian fans, but it's also really neat to have this be seen all over the world, and we wouldn't have had that opportunity had it been on television. So
that's true. That's true. It's not geo-blocked, and everyone watches at the same time. And just to go back to what you guys were saying earlier, I think it really is a testament to the two of you and the chemistry Natasha and Elise have, in the fact that, you know, there was a stationary camera and there's two actors and there's great words, and that kind of spoke for itself in reaching millions of people.
Now, the last season ended with a betrayal of loss and trust, just between you and I. No one else has to know. Can you give us any inside info on season 3?
Season 3 is an epic season. Like, it really does feel like a Greek tragedy that's all coming together, and it's very conclusive, and there's a lot of
tragedy is the right word for this season. It feels a lot less stressful than last. Don't you think?
There's a lot of like rebuilding of trust, and a lot of love, and a lot of healing gets done in season 3, I think.
I mean, we can say that Laura and Carmilla are stuck in the magical library together this season. So two exes. They're exes in close quarters. So there's definitely a bit of drama, but I think they really learn how to understand each other and trust each other again, and become friends as well.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, dear listener. Cryptic hints, but hints nonetheless. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much for having us.